Nee, ik geef van de eerste. Ik geef 100 uur aan die kan het niet opgeschreven. Ja, dat was de eerste.
Two of the St. Augustine statues in the Museum für Völkerkunde in Berlin on display. Third one is kind of a showcase piece, certainly of their St. Augustine collection. Try some backlight here. I don't really know what the backlight does. These are pretty brightly lit up from behind. Hope it won't be too long before I'll have all of these on film. But for the moment, with tomorrow being the first chance I'll have to speak to the various directors, or at least the director of American archaeology, these are the only three that I have access to. And they're the only St. Augustine pieces on display. So I'll leave it at that and hope to get the others later. But the collection on the rest of this floor is absolutely fantastic, and I can do a lot of filming, and hopefully will. So this is the approach every day. Just turning in the driveway. Once having arrived around the back side of the museum complex. If things go well, I'm going to film this incredible labyrinthine path into the place where I work. We'll see how well it works out. Front door locked from the inside. Hello. Today I filmed the labyrinth. 10 doors. Thank you. Amerikanische Archäologie. Thank you.
Ja, bitte.
Again.
Ja.
So here's the setup. This statue's now, the broken in half statue's now propped up and ready to go. And here's my setup. Chair and mini desk up on top of the table. Next to where I've been working. I'll be up here to get my view down at this baby. The first and last statues I both did this way. So the light's kind of glaring. It's hard to get a good view of the sky. One of the main Preuss statues lying where I'm drawing it in the American archaeology section of the Museum für Völkerkunde in Berlin. There's a bright light right behind it, so I don't want to turn this corner. A little better angle. Try to get all these statues on here eventually. These are two of the other St. Augustine statues, which hopefully I'll get out later and take better films of. But I did want to show that right down this shelf, by chance, there are several of the famous siyas from Manabi, of which there are none in Manabi. There are 4 of them here. Maybe I can change the angle a little. The 4th one behind that one. And of course here in the depositors, goes on and on, shelf after shelf of Unbelievable American treasure. But this will be yesterday's main project, and the one I'll have to finish up now. One of Preuss's stash from 1919. Another of the San Agustin statues set up for drawing. A doble figure. This won't work too well. We'll swing through the rails and look at him from come back and get a closer look at the front. Hopefully, in a little while.
Right?
Yep. Amazingly enough. Especially on that side there. Another of the Colombian statues. This one with not too much detail left. Face nearly gone. This is to the next to the last one that I'll be seeing in this museum. Cracked like the first one I drew here in the storeroom and repaired. It's the one that I just finished. It is a doble. The animal, segmented animal figure over the human figure. You see to the left the ear of the human figure facing to the left, and the segmented snake-like body of the doble over him. The light's pretty terrible in here. These are just cases and cases of stones. I don't know if any of this will show. Statues from all the American cultures. The reason I'm walking down to this end is to take a quick glance at Margot, who's working here, cataloging gold pieces for the Columbus exhibition, the 1992 Columbus exhibition. Will happen before long. Cleaning them up and figuring out which ones can be exhibited and which one's not. This is Preuss. The progenitor of the modern St. Augustine studies. Boy, I can see why Eves, who loaned me this camera, said I should take a little hand holder. Pretty tough to hold this thing still. And this is my workplace, where I'm working on making my drawings. In the storerooms of the Museo Etnológico de American Archaeology section in Berlin. Backside with a bird mask, possibly. And the front side with a human figure. Even from here you can see the nose ring and the backside of the same humanoid head. Yet another St. Augustine statue, one of Preuss's that he published. Just a fragment. It's the one with a small figure on its back. This is the front main human figure. Hopefully we'll see the back in a minute. Backside with the human figure on it. Another of the small fragments that Preuss recorded in his book. most recent subject. Yet another San Augustine head. Margot, kneeling down on the ground, looking at some. What are you looking at?
Things for to make yourself beauty.
Jewelry.
Jewelry and things. Adornments? I don't know what it's in English. To take off your
Makeup?
hair, you see?
Oh, pinzas. I see what you mean, yeah. What would you call those in English? I'm not sure. And that was Maria, who just went to answer the phone, also working on the upcoming 500th year 1992 America exhibition. And this is Manuela now on the screen, who's also working on the same exhibition. The famous San Augustine shelf, where Preuss's stones have been sitting. Some still are. Yet another of the little Briseño, Nariño statues, are rough, crude stones that Preuss mentions, and which wasn't clear until now, but which he brought a lot of back. There are 11 of them here in the museum. And yet another of the same Nariño statues brought back by Preuss. Small, none bearing any real unique details. Interesting little stylistic differences. None with anything in the hands. None with any real iconography. Virtually impossible to see anywhere but here. Once again, one of the little Nariño stones. Same story, just documentation. Unless I'm mistaken, the last of the little stones from Nariño. little, pretty heavy, but very simple, as Preuss pointed out. Not really the break in the pattern with the rest of them. Back now to the San Augustine stones that Preuss did publish. One of the ones that was missing but has now been found on the shelf. Soon to be drawn by me, so I have it out, so I thought I'd get it down here. A little masculine figure with at least a 3-tiered hat, perhaps a 4th tier. After seeing all the Nariño stones, this one makes it clear how the San Augustine stones differ and how they're similar. Different detail on each stone. Different angles you can appreciate. See the broken away earring from this side. Now here's a really amazing statue. This is from Bolivia. It's from Copacabana. It may actually be from Peru. It's from right on the border. The famous Chiripa slab from Chiripa in Peru is an analog of this stone. I happened to be reading and writing about it last year, and I'd forgotten that the analog that they mentioned was in this museum until I happened to pass it by on a shelf. It's not a big thing to them here. It happens to be a big thing in my studies. Beautiful. Maybe around 200 AD, pre-Tiwanaku, Titicaca Basin in any case. Very fine. Now back to Briseño again. Just found this one on the top shelf. Probably the last one I'll see. The 13th new Preuss stone. And one I hope to sketch soon. Just another lucky find. These are the San Augustine shells here. Just in case there weren't enough view of Manabi stone sillas. We'll just glance at a few more here. Unbelievable collection. Many more just in this shelf than there probably are in Manabi. Something the people in Manabi would dearly love to see. Back to the St. Augustine statues. 3 of the nicer one that Preuss brought back. All 3 subsequently lost, although published by him. All 3 now subsequently found again. This one we've already looked at, but I have it again out kind of as a paperweight. This one I've just gotten out now, and we will look at the back side of it in a few minutes. You can see here the doble serpent-like figure flowing down the back. The front of this statue is nearly destroyed. Much of a face to speak of. Hands holding some kind of objects. Loincloth. Delineated feet. Like I say, we will see the back in a minute. This one I don't have up yet. Hopefully we'll get some films of it later. One of the really fine statues. It's erased uniformly, smoothly, so that the outlines make it clear that it was pretty fine carving. Preuss published it in completely perfect shape. Now it's cracked in half. It's completely in 2 separate parts. We've just stuck it back together for this drawing I'm about to do. Hopefully I'll get a better view of it before long. Now we'll go to the back of this statue. The back makes a pretty nice study too. Elaborate doble flowing down the back with the rounded doble spirit face, humanoid face on the back. The loincloth with the back flap to match the front flap, and the belt that comes all the way around. The essence of the juice of this statue. The doble in the middle of the back. We can still see, even though it's all smashed up. Ear ornaments, the slightly grinning face, the eyes. Matching the Alto de las Piedras statue, which is still in its place, which bifurcates down the back. Kind of a nice symbolic shape there. The sculptor must have liked it. It's a closing shot. This one I've had on film before, but I'll do another shot of it. This is the statue from Iskandoi that Preuss did not publish, the most elaborate one of the ones he didn't publish, which he must have gotten on his trip over the Paramo to Briseño. He brought back a dozen that are here, 14 that he mentioned statues from Briseño, but one of them must have been the statue from Iskandoi, which is some other place and which clearly has to do with the other Pueblos Escultores and not just the Briseño Nariño stones. The thing about this statue is the figure on the back, which we'll glance at in a minute if my back holds out. And here is the back side of the statue, with a fairly large animal clinging to the back, legs running almost all the way down the statue. A familiar shape, like a very squashed triangle that we've seen on other of these same creatures from Tierra Dentro and from the other site in the La Plata Valley. Plata Vieja, not Moscopan. Sí, Moscopan, that's the one. Not Agua Bonita. Here's the small column with faces in relief, which we'll just have to see by a series of views because there are faces on all four sides. On the two end sides of which this is when they really stand out, and on the two broad sides they're just canaled or etched in. There's one on this side that we can barely see. And on the far side are the two that we already looked at, one of which is only half there. Another day at work. the next to the last. The last major statue, one that was just found, or rather just found to be from San Agustin, from Iskandoy actually. The second Iskandoy statue that Preuss brought. Didn't publish the last main drawing. I'll have to do unless something else is found. Problem is not yet knowing where Iskandoy is. But somewhere over the Paramo, either toward Nariño, more likely, I believe, in the La Plata Valley. Certainly not in San Agustin's valley.
Although it's hard to believe that there's anything in the foreign aid workers who are struggling to keep their programs running.
News from Mogadishu, Somalia. While we look at one of the 3 river stones that Preuss brought back. The only one of the 3 apparently which still exists. He bought it in San Agustin, naturally carved by the river. Of the probably several hundred ceramics that Preuss brought back from his trip, there apparently are only 9 surviving. These are the 9. There are also a lot of fragments which I'll film a little bit of, but even these 9 are mostly all shattered. So, like the statues which were thought to have disappeared, although they hadn't disappeared apparently, the ceramics have almost all disappeared. And there's virtually nothing left to show. Perhaps it's true that they did disappear during the war. Perhaps they were all shattered. None of these are particularly fine examples. You can see how this one's been reconstructed. This one also. Has been reconstructed. Here's a very interesting square piece. Badly shattered. Its remaining ones are nice forms, but they're basically pretty simple pieces. This one's from up on the Paramo somewhere, I believe. This is from Ciénaga Chica, which is to say, it's toward Morelia. And this is just one of the little pod-like things that you sometimes find in the ground. Nice form, but once again a simple piece. I guess we would have to say that the square ceramic is the most exceptional. Some of the boxes of fragments left of what must have been the items that Preuss brought back when they were whole. Now they're just boxes of fragments and the 9 pots we looked at before. It's been organized into fragments. All the painted parts in these two boxes. This one and the upcoming one. Another very heavy box full of ceramic fragments. A little stone figure. In general, though, these are boxes full of ceramics. There's a mishmash. And I believe the last box of St. Augustine fragments that Preuss brought back, all that's left of the collection of ceramics he took. It looks, the one with the holes in it looks like it was going to be made into a spindle whorl. Seems to be about it. So this is back to a statue that we'd seen before, which is the bird-shaped doble statue. I just wanted to get a shot of the back, showing the tail that he has on the back, similar to another St. Augustine statue in the Bosque in St. Augustine. We'll look at this one from this side, just to remember which one it is. So the one statue in the downstairs deposito. One day I counted, by the way, these centerboards and paddles from the south of Peru, specifically from the area of Ica. There were 115 of them here in this museum. I tell you, a handful of these anywhere are incredible. And here you can see these are just hanging up in this long row between these two cases, and there's another row which we'll see in a minute. Just a handful of these would be a prize for any museum. Here they number in the dozens and dozens. there's another section of them. Right here. Dozens and dozens more. Not all lit up.
Box to reserve it for the big exhibition, and then also choose some of them for the little exhibition here.
So, which exhibition are you talking about that it's your job to prepare for?
This is a little exhibition here.
To replace the stuff
To
that'll be
replace the
taken
stuff.
out.
Exactly.
After making the choices and making the decisions, will your job be done, or will you also have to implement?
No, also to implement it. This will be an entire work.
That might be kind of fun then.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Yeah.
You have to think about conception and
Yeah.
presentation, and also what kind of information you will give and so on.
Yeah, really
This
sounds
is the
great.
interesting part of
Yeah,
course.
exactly.
Therefore, I said it's a little bit of investigation too.
Right.
I have to look about this concept of jewelry, not in our European sense, but in the sense it was in this former world.
Right.
You're filming all the time? Or
Yeah.
and when you're back, this was my way for lunch.
This is what I did every day when I went to lunch.